Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Wednesdays with Larawana. Every Wednesday, right here on CannaWannaBuy.com, we bring you the latest information on adult use and medical marijuana from all over the world. Now, many of you live in states where it is legal for you to grow your own medicine, your own cannabis. So, this week we have for you from BigBudsMagazine.com the 5 best strains for growing monster marijuana plants. And this is written by Steve Davis. Marijuana growers often wonder what makes the difference in whether or not they're able to grow monster plants that produce many ounces or even pounds per plant. Marijuana genetics make an important difference in the yield and THC percentages. The strains we recommend in the article have genetics that make them more likely to grow big and produce larger buds and more THC than other strains. But we also realize that how and when you grow your marijuana makes as much difference as the strains of marijuana that you grow. In general, unless you have a very large grow room with high ceilings and lots of HID lights, you won't get as many grams per plant indoors than if you were to grow outdoors. Similarly, if you use professionalized hydroponics nutrients and supplements such as pH perfect hydroponics based nutrients, Big Bud, Bud Factor X, rather than Miracle Grow or other swag fertilizers, you'll see healthier plants and bigger yields. It also helps if you properly top and trim your marijuana plants early so that they develop multiple main stems instead of the Christmas tree shape that most marijuana plants develop into if they're untrimmed. And also that's called untopped. Another way to get monster cannabis plants is to provide more room for their roots and to feed the root zone beneficial microbes such as voodoo juice along with a booster like roots acceleration so that roots get bigger and can support more top growth. Now, here are some marijuana strains that have the genetic tendency to go big and produce larger plants and harvests. Plushberry from the legendary TGA Subcool Seed Company. This one has beautiful coloration and 2 main phenotypes, with the indica dominant phenotype producing massive yields indoors or outdoors. Check the many YouTube and other online reports from satisfied marijuana growers who love Plushberry. TGA Subcool have told us recently that high demand for their seeds is creating shortages of some of their key strains. If you're unable to get Plushberry, go to TGA Subcool Agent Orange, another plant legendary for growing large and producing heavy, thick, premium buds. Subcool also says check out his Jesus OG Kush. Expect harvest to be so big they'll bury you in sticky goodness, end quote from Subcool. The next one is Jack Herer, originally created by Sensi Seeds, but now better sourced as a clone or from U.S. breeders rather than from Sensi Seeds. Jack Herer marijuana has a proud heritage, including some of the best old school genetics from the 1960s and 1970s. When you feel it, Bud Candy, Big Bud, and Overdrive in a properly lit indoor garden with CO2 or growing outdoors in moderately warm and dry climates, you get super large yields and the high is heavenly. Jack Herer carries some haze and other sativa genetics, so be prepared to top and train vigorously or to see it go tall if untopped, and especially when grown outdoors. Jack Herer marijuana has a powerful haze scent while growing, and especially when you properly dry and cure your buds. The next strain that they're talking about is Cinderella 99. This is a legendary heavy yielder with a short 50 to 63 day bloom phase, which makes it nice for outdoor growers who want their buds ready for harvest before the autumn rains come in. This cannabis strain contains Jack Herer influences but does not stone you like Jack Herer. It has its own unique high. Next up is Pineapple Express, probably even better than the marijuana strain you saw in the Seth Rogen James Franco movie version. This one was at first a mutt knockoff that people bred so they could capitalize on the movie's popularity. Today, Pineapple Express is one of the most fun marijuana strains. It has a 55 to 65 day flowering time and benefits from bud candy and B52 supplements during bloom. White Widow used to be the almost every marijuana growers was growing or had grown this famous strain. In the last couple of years, you see less White Widow, but it's a mistake to forget this heavy-yielding, easy-to-grow, crystally marijuana strain. You can now procure new-style White Widow seeds and clones. Breeders adjusted the amount of indica genetics, adding a hint more sativa so that the high is more uplifting than before. This marijuana is also known for its major amount of resin glands, so it is often grown for hashish production. Please remember, as we said earlier, genetics alone aren't the sole determiner of whether you'll grow monster marijuana plants or harvest monster yields. Also note that many of the strains that produce the largest yields are indica dominant, which means a different kind of high than the strains that are pure sativa or even a sativa dominant hybrid. When you want the largest marijuana plants with the biggest yields, the 5+ strains we just gave you are going to yield huge stacks of sticky buds as long as you're paying attention to growing conditions and feeding them good food as any caring grower should. Again, we want to thank BigBudsMagazine.com for this wonderful insight on these 5 strains that seem to grow great cannabis. Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget Canna-Wanna-Buy for all of your recreational, adult use, medical needs, whether you're a dispensary, whether you're just a user or a head shop. Great products, fast shipping, Canna-Wanna-Buy.com. Don't forget my weekly radio show, Medical Marijuana Radio, every Saturday night, 7 p.m. live Mountain Time. That's 9 on the East and 6 on the West. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love.